Hey guys, so we're getting the F-134 Jeep motor ready for paint. We got all the external pieces buttoned up to it. So now we'll put a little bit of masking tape on it, a little blue painter's tape, cover up all the holes on it so we don't get paint down into places it doesn't need to be. My tape's a little bit cold, so it's going to be a little bit finicky here. It's still a little cold out here, but it's warm enough outside that if I heat the garage up enough, I should be able to paint in here. So I'm going to add some of this paint to tape to here, get it masked off, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back and put the exhaust manifold back up on here and mark where the exhaust manifold sits and cut those pieces out because I want that bare metal so the gasket adheres well to it, but the rest of this I want to cover with paint because the exhaust manifold only covers about a third of this surface area. So we need to know where it is, so we're going to put some paint on it, put the exhaust manifold up on there, bolt it in. We're going to punch a hole through the bolt holes, bolt it in real lightly, and then trace it, and then pull whatever is over the exhaust port off so that we can paint the rest of it. As far as painting, I'm going to use a high temperature engine paint, and I didn't get the color I wanted. I was actually going to paint this thing Caterpillar orange, or something close to that. I didn't want a bright lemon yellow, and I didn't want red. So the closest I found was this burnt copper color from VHT. It's not a bad color. It's not exactly what I was aiming for, but it'll look all right. I mean, the Jeep's going to be blue. The blue and the copper kind of work well together. It again, it wasn't the color I wanted, but you know, one of the frustrating things that, you know, especially in this area, you go to the auto parts store and you want to buy some paint. You want, you know, a couple of cans. I don't know how many cans it's going to take to paint this thing. I was going to buy two, just in case. You know, one good coat all the way over, and then one for touch-ups and finishing. You only get one can of any particular color. So to get 2 or 3 or 4, whatever cans, you got to go to that many different parts stores to get paint. So they have one can of burnt orange or burnt copper, as it were. They had one can of red and one can of yellow. I'm like, what happened in the days when you could go into an auto parts store and get 3 or 4 cans of paint, or 3 or 4 of a different type of bolt or washer or something like that? It's just one of those frustrating things. But we got a couple cans of paint. We got some tape here that we're going to tape this up. We did a good cleanup on this thing. I know it doesn't look all that clean, but it actually is. We cleaned all the parts before we put them in the assembly, and then we put some all-purpose parts cleaner on a rag, wiped the whole thing down, and then I went over it again with some grease and wax remover that I have specifically for paint prep, and it worked pretty well. So it should be pretty clean. The paint should adhere to it pretty well. Once I get all the masking done, I'm going to fire up the propane heater and get the garage nice and toasty warm. And that'll help the paint, you know, it stick to it and adhere really well and then cure. So hopefully Tuesday, when the guys get here, we can start putting all the final little pieces on this thing and get it into the Jeep. Which, let me show you the Jeep real quick. We'll put the tape down, bring you guys with me. So, guys came over the other day. We started working on the Jeep. You can see the grills off of the Jeep. And then we took the motor out of it. So one of the guys got motivated, wanted to work on it. So we ended up taking the motor out. It didn't take all that long to take it out. So we're going to get in there and we're going to clean that up a little bit. I don't think we're going to paint the firewall this time. We're just going to literally clean it, get all the grease off the bell housing, neaten up what we can. I got to identify a couple of wires. I know somewhere in there is the oil temperature sensor wire and the water temperature sensor wire. I'm going to mark those so that we put them on that engine in the right place. But hopefully by Tuesday evening we'll have the motor in, and depending on what other little things we need to add to it, we'll maybe get it running. I know that we got to put the distributor in. We got the distributor sitting here on the workbench. One of the things I did with this particular distributor is it doesn't have points in it. We converted it to the electronic distributor some time ago. And let me tell you, a lot of people want to stay with the old points because it's original and it's distinct and all that. But if you're going to drive these things anywhere for any length of time, do yourself a favor and go to the electronic ignition. It just makes your life a whole lot easier. I still have the points distributor here. It's on the shelf if I want to go to a show and get those, retro authentic points or whatever. I can throw that in there and run that for the afternoon. But on any given day, if you want to just run out to the garage, turn the Jeep on and drive up to the auto parts store, the local car meet, go with the electronic. It makes your life a lot easier. I think that's all I want to cover in this video. There's the motor. I'm going to get a better shot of it later when I get ready for paint. I'll move some of the stuff out of the way. I'll mask a bunch of stuff off and then actually show you just the motor by itself. I'm going to do some other painting. The motor itself, like I said, is going to be the burnt copper color. I got the fan and some of the other accessories taken off of it. We're going to clean these up. These will be gloss black. So it'll be a nice gloss black and burnt copper look. Should look pretty interesting, and we'll get some good pictures and video before we throw it in. We're going to take a lot of the brackets, like the brackets around the coil, look kind of grungy. We're going to clean those up, paint those black. I'm going to really stick to 2 colors with this thing, black and copper. I don't want to have a whole bunch of other competing colors in there. I was thinking about taking this oil sensor overflow tube and I was going to polish this up and make this nice bright shiny copper color or whatever. But looking at it, it's really old. It's really kind of got some rough spots in it. So I think I'm just going to clean it up really well and paint it black along with all the other accessories. But we're going to put this back in there. And with that, as we go, I'll try to take a couple more videos, let you know how it's doing. I'll talk to you guys later.